Okay. We'll try that. See if that works. Okay. Where's the buttons? Where did the buttons go? Uh-oh. Is you broken? Test, test. There we go. Really? I just started streaming and now you want to get picked up? You were completely fine for the last 20 minutes. Whoa. I need to clean everything. There we go. It's definitely gonna be one of those days. I can feel it. I can feel it already. We're just gonna jump right in. Jump right in and do it. Welcome in, everybody. It is Wednesday. Mom Axel, welcome in. It's a bit early. It's only 9 o'clock, but we're gonna try to get some stuff done this morning and then go from there. Oh boy, that's a rugby. I do have a suspicion that I draw rugby's the way I feel every day, so I'm pretty scraggled today. everybody's day is going well. Guess I need the YouTube or the Twitch. There we go. We'll do that. First one up. It's a little more tired. A little more tired line. And then I think that's good. Give him some floof. Rugby needs some floof. Red 83.3, welcome in. We are doing the viewer suggestion, so we do have a list of characters that people have suggested on the community posts. If you've not suggested something on the post, but you'd like to suggest something, you're very welcome to. I will add to the list. I'm going to warm up the rugby. I might draw a crab. I need to draw a crab that shoots something. If that makes sense to anybody. Working on the crab game here. I need a crab that can shoot bubbles or something. Gotta make it more bullet helly. We're gonna suggest a really cool hat. You could suggest it on a character.
Howdy, howdy, howdy.
If you want it. You can do it right here in the chat. Yeah, the way we normally do this is the rules are in the chat, but they are one sentence description of a character. It can be D&D, it can be Pathfinder, it can be Vampire the Masquerade, whatever. Race, class. Maybe just type if you want to do like a fighter or a tank or something. Explosive bubbles, spitting more bubbles. That could be good. I could probably make that work. Just a tiny bubble that goes like pow. Pow. Siegfried, welcome in. Jonas drew some really good crabs, so now I'm trying to take that style and run with it. I've had mixed results. Get a little hydralistic action going on here instead of zerglings. It's a boss from the second phase. Yeah, I think getting more complicated in the attacks later on does make sense. I was kind of thinking about this game as just like a infinite wave spawner, but it might be more interesting to have a little more control over it. Mr. Crab eyeballs is what I've done here, which is fine. Just go pee. Pee. You're in a good mood today? That's good. That's good to hear. I've been trying to like catch up on my sleep, and I feel like the closer I get to being caught up on sleep, the more grumpy I get. I'm not sure why that is. Yeah, that's fine. There's no problem with that. Yeah, anything I draw, you guys are welcome to use reference or stuff, but it's not a problem at all. Share the link to Pocket Dimension Discord. Nice. think I'm done. I think I'm going to start doing the... Go to the list here. That's a good warm-up. Rugby and crab. We'll let that exist over here in the corner for a little bit. I might have to chop this up a little bit so it's got more space. We'll put this up here. And we'll put the rugby over here. Whew. Okay. So the way I do this is I have a list built out, and I'm gonna roll some dice, and the dice are gonna decide what we're gonna draw. That's it. Simple as that. The dice gods chooseth, and they chose the blank number because I only have 18 and I rolled 19. Let's try again. 5. A Kenku artificer alchemist with many potions. We can do that. That sounds fun. All right, Kenku alchemist, huh? Nah, that feels like a blue. We can stick with blue. I've been having a lot of fun playing with shape lately, so I might try to keep these very I was gonna say shapely, but that doesn't quite track. Yeah. Let's try again. What's your thoughts on the Guns and Gear remaster? Actually, I haven't got to look through it yet, which is a kind of a bummer. I remember Corvus was talking about the Gunslinger rework, which I think was smart. Basically, I think they gave them more access to I don't want to say being a melee class, but like doing more with your firearms, right? They're not crossbows, so they need to be treated as such. That being said, I love the Gunslinger. I think the Gunslinger's great. And I'm glad they're giving them a little more flair. It is a little weird that they're now they're more gritty cowboys than they were in the past, which is funny because they got rid of grit, but I liked the old Pathfinder 1 system, but that only worked because of touch AC, which is no longer a thing. So guns are a lot closer to crossbows now, which is fine. It balances a lot better. They need a wand slinger version where you just use wands instead of guns. That would be really fun. Gunslingers use the firearm proficiency for both forms of combination weapons. Yeah, exactly. And I think that makes a lot more sense. Because we played a couple games with a gunslinger that, like the old gunslinger, that had those. And it's like, cool, and now I go into melee and I just suck. And it's like, what's the point of this gun? This doesn't make any sense. So, yeah, being able to switch to a gun with a bayonet, or just it used to be you used a grit point and you could, punch someone in the face. Which was cool. That was neat. Being able to switch between melee and range real quick like that was kind of part of their charm, right? So I was saying they're a little more like a brawler, bar brawling cowboy, which is very, very old school, and I dig it. I feel like they got a little bit of that back now. So. Grip the Gunslinger, still one of my favorite things I've drawn for this channel. I hope they added more like unique gear. I haven't looked at that part of it yet either. There's a lot of cool like random alchemical stuff, but like there's not a lot of types of ammo. There's not a lot of there were a handful of staves. What? I was hoping to get more wands. More cool wands that aren't just like, here's a spell, right? I wanted to do something weird and interesting. Once again, wand slinger, really fun. Basically, instead of having a weapon proficiency, you can just reuse wands over and over again. Would be my preference. But once again, also, like, if it's just fireball wands, like, that's not interesting. This has got to be, like, essentially Eldritch Blast, right? The gunslinger should be able to, or a wand slinger should be able to just Eldritch Blast over and over again. The Thaumaturge kind of built some way like that, but I think it should be more of a wand slinger than the Thaumaturge. The Thaumaturge is a pretty cool class, though. It's got a little bit of, it needs a little bit of work, a little bit of love. I'm a big fan of the full bird Kenku. I think it's a little more interesting. Oh boy. I heard the here we go, but I don't know who it was. Bakara, welcome in. Thank you for the follow. Hope you're doing well today. Could also be a ring slinger. That could be interesting. Yeah. A spell cannon, if you would. Yeah, exactly. A Magus gunslinger. That would be pretty fun. I tried to build a. I've seen it a lot. I tried to build a crafter class, and I've talked about this in a few of my shorts. That just focused on building rings, and then with that, the way you work it is you can have 10 rings equipped or more. It doesn't really matter, but you have to spend an action to basically attune, like quick focus attune to that ring, so that you can switch between different things, which I think is great because like you basically have infinite spells, but every spell takes an extra action to attune to. So huge spell repertoire as long as you have them created, and then you just swap between them, and they can do different things. Like you have the Ring of the Ram, which is great. You can have like rings of protection, stuff like that. That's called Spell Shot archetype. Already exists. Really? For the gunslinger in 2E? Ender BP, hello, welcome in. I'm thinking about the Spell Shot now. The Spell Shot like lets you infuse. Is it infuse cantrips to your bullets? Is that what it is? I think it's for like crossbows, right? Was the original intent. Imagine a wand slinger though has a spring-loaded quarrel. Item that holds crossbow bolts, but instead holds the wand. you just put the wand in the crossbow like a magazine. That'd be pretty great. People don't really talk about it because they sucked, but they fixed it recently. Oh, nice. How are you doing? I'm doing all right. How are you doing today? I'm lit tired. But that's my normal state, so that's fine. Normal state of affairs. Do you think potion bottles are like an industry thing in the D&D world? I know in Pathfinder, like in Rise of the Rune Lords, the Glassworks was a pretty big, important place. But it's like, did they make all glass or did they make potion glass? Like, is a bottle, or does a potion bottle have to be special? Alchemist has like files, which are slightly different. But I wonder if the bottle could tell you where the potion came from. That'd be interesting. I should put that in the game. You're like, hey, this is a unique, weird bottle shape. You have no idea where this was manufactured. Let's add some of this. Give a little texturing to the cloth. And then we'll probably move on to the next one. I think this one's pretty good. We got lots of flasks. Maybe a big flask. We'll just put one big flask right here. Why not put a healing potion in a giant flask and just sip from it? It's great. I do like the idea of like flasks of healing that kind of regenerate. You can use them once per day. That's really fun if you're playing a campaign where you don't like a lot of healing. Bottomless potions. I guess the bottomless steins, like, you can use them infinitely. So, like, as many times as you want per day, just you have to refill them over like a minute or something. So, potions, I think probably should have charges per day. I think that makes more sense. But the Dark Souls method is really good. I like that idea of just like your healing potion is something you can upgrade, can have multiple uses, can be better. Instead of having to find dozens of potions, it's just like an item you carry with you. That's a lot of fun for smaller campaigns. Cuckoo-choo. Okay. I think that is our bird alchemist. A little Kanku action for the morning. I like it. Bottoms up. Give him a button. A button, maybe another one of these. I dig it. Okay, moving on. Where should we put this bird fellow? Am I in the Discord chat? I might not be. I totally forgot. My bad. There we go. Trigger brand gunslinger must be short race with an oversized weapon. The rest is up to you. Okay. Gives you access to the wizard archetype. Okay, that makes sense. Require vile essence though. Womp womp womp. You sleep. Either on the table or next to my bed or in the bathroom. $11. Aged and scarred. Time Raider. Trickery domain censor. Oh no. I don't know what any of these are. Is this from Starfinder? I don't actually know what I'm supposed to draw here. There's a lot of words that don't make sense to me. Let's see if I can figure this out. What is happening? Why are you down here? Maybe instead of censor is supposed to be cleric. I'm assuming that's what it's supposed to be. Trigger domain cleric. Was it time traveler? We're gonna go with that. Agent's Guard Time Raider. I don't know what a Time Raider is. Trickery domain cleric. Using a swashbuckler kit. If anybody knows what a censor is or a Time Raider, please let me know. Oh, is it from the MCDM? Some bandit stealing artifacts from specific zones, screwing up everything. That could be. Werewolves could affect a warforge. Don't know if it's true though. It depends on what you're looking at, really, because like a lot of the original construct concepts were immune to disease. And I think disease. Are they immune to curses? Ooh, yeah, we should look that up. That's a cool concept. Depends on how you look at werewolf stuff. A virus uploaded to the robot? Oh, that sounds really familiar. Oh. I'm thinking of Bender from Futurama. He's turned into a were car. Yeah, unfortunately, because they took away a lot of the flavor of the constructs, so that they're no longer like they have constitution scores now, and they have like living souls, so they can be healed by magic and stuff. Like I would say, some of that stuff, yeah, totally probably work. Is the censor just Matt Colville's cleric? Is that what it is? Closer to paladin than cleric. Gotcha. Where does the term paladin come from? I need to know. Because if it's a Tolkien reference, that's hilarious. But it's got to be older than that. But maybe it doesn't. I don't know. War Priest or Inquisitor? Sure. This guy doesn't look super aged yet. I'm not really drawing him with any interest. Like a pose. He's just kind of standing. So maybe we change that. Let's try this again. If he's old and grizzled, excuse me, I think we're gonna change up his pose a little bit. We're gonna make him a little more. Charlemagne's court, 8th century. Okay, cool. 1592. Nice. Gotcha. Good. Okay. Servant or government official? They chose censor as they're basically different churches, police arms. It would be a bit more sinister. Interesting. They've definitely got some what's the word? I don't think it was Percy Jackson. No, that's the other guy. They've got some old school sci-fi vibe to them. Kind of want to throw a monster from Monster Hunter into one of my campaigns, and I had the stat block for all the monsters from the game, but I'm not sure how to do it. Oh, so people have talked about this before, and this is kind of a cool concept. Is it that you just want to fight a specific type of monster, or is it that you want to use like the Monster Hunter mechanics of like crafting? Because if it's just the monster, like you don't really have to explain anything to it. It's just something that exists in your world, you know. If it's something that you want to be a unique, like, one-off thing, then yeah, maybe it needs to be summoned from some strange monster dimension, i.e. Monster Hunter, whatever their world is called. But, like, that kind of stuff happens in the D&D universe all the time. So, what's the difference between summoning a Monster Hunter thing and, like, something from the Plane of Tigers? All of those are viable things that could happen, so... maybe there's an incursion from a different plane that's more jungle, and then you can give them some Monster Hunter flavor, and then attack them with whatever you want to attack them with. Or maybe there's a mad scientist, mage, wizard thing that is creating monsters, and it just happens to be the Monster Hunter creatures, because they're usually kind of amalgamations of things. You got lots of options. Sometimes there's a rich guy that just wants to have people fight its pet, and so he throws them into an arena with it. Cough, cough, Rancor, you know? 100% throw Rancors at your players. A lot of people don't know this. They're intelligent. It's really weird. I don't think they can talk. I don't think they can talk, but they can they can reason, and they can be talked with. Princess of Mars? Is that the one with the four-armed dudes? Is that what I'm thinking of? Can't remember. If I'm dropped into a portal to my D&D world, that makes sense since Monster Hunter has a lot of different worlds across, like, the main characters from The Witcher popped into Monster Hunter for an event. Yeah. Yep, that's totally legitimate. Like, portals and interdimensional travel is all over D&D and Magic the Gathering and different things like that. And Monster Hunter, I think Monster Hunter did a crossover with Magic the Gathering. So that means technically they're in the same universe anyways. So I say go for it. Just on a different plane. Thank you, Magic the Gathering, for making nothing mean anything. The world's made up and the points don't matter, so you don't do what you want. Yeah, I really wouldn't overthink it. Unless you want it to be like a very Monster Hunter-y event, like maybe adding an NPC to like give them context. I would just throw Monster Hunter creatures at them. Let them figure it out. Wait a minute. What's the Monster Hunter monster that everybody loves so much? The, like, T-Rex bird? I was going to say Ravnosaur, but that doesn't sound right. I've not played a lot of Monster Hunter. Probably should play more. Could also just exist in your world, but due to the environment it lives in, or perhaps the rarity of a creature and odds of having been seen up. Lack of knowledge of a creature. Odds of it having been seen. Run across. Okay. Yeah, I mean that's kind of what I was thinking. It's just like it's not something we'll see every day. You run across it somewhere in the wild, right? Like there's nothing wrong with that. People love Dogama because it's basically a big fat lizard who looks dumb and eats crystal salt. Okay. Yeah, there's definitely another thing that happens in. I think Pathfinder's a little better about it because it gives you base knowledge checks for creatures, and essentially, yeah, you could just put that really high. Like maybe you have heard about these things. Like maybe that doesn't matter, you know. Just depends on if, like I said, you really want it to be a Monster Hunter themed event, or if it's just a creature that, you know, oh hey, that's in Monster Hunter. It's like, yeah, I thought it'd be fun to fight. Turns out they live in my world now. Nothing wrong with that. I like grabbing things from video games all the time, whether it's something from like Legend of Zelda or what's another good example of something I've used. I pull puzzles from a lot of games. I like using puzzles with games. I still want to make my players fight Kirby. I think Kirby would be a fun demigod boss to fight. I think I'm about done with this one. I'm gonna give this guy some bangles and stuff, just to really give him some. I guess if he's a time bandit, he should probably look like he's got some. I don't know what future tech, not future tech. Probably not stealing from the future. I mean that would be the best bang for your buck, right? As long as you don't get caught. We were talking yesterday, Corvus and I were talking about the new Matt Damon's in it. Shoot. Odyssey? I think it's the Odyssey. And basically we were talking about how the armor, a whole bunch of people are upset because the armor looks like it's super old and ancient, but like if he's wearing it, it should be new. It's like, oh, that's an interesting concept to think about. So if you're a time bandit, all your stuff should probably be brand spanking new. All the John Carter Barsoom stuff on the Red Martian Princess are not of the Frank Green Martians. Okay, gotcha. Temperatures are basically alien raiders that plague stuff like Vikings, pillage stuff like Viking and monsters. Okay, got it. Think of throwing this monster who loves to punch and head. Loves to punch and headbutt? Okay. I think it was B-U-T-T, otherwise I read that weird. With its horns. By the way, his claws are drenched in his explosive spit. Awesome. Okay. I'm going to make a cool explosive item for my players after that. This slate, good body. Yeah, that would be awesome. I would say start off with that, right? Like, hey, there's a creature that lives up in up in this specific area, and I need components for it to build this thing I want to build. Can you guys go get it for me? You'll know where it is because you'll hear the explosions. Maybe that's how it like breaks through rocks and stuff. So then they go track it down. They find it. They fight it. Right. It's just something that's out of the way and most people won't normally see. I think that makes a lot of sense. Or if you want to leave it a surprise, yeah, just have them run into one. Maybe it lives underground. Maybe it comes through a portal. Who knows? All viable. It's kind of an exonym. What does an exonym mean? I don't know what that means. Alright. I think I'm done with this bad boy. I'm going to move him and actually give him a spear tip.
A exonym is a name used by people not native to the place, language, or group of people.
Thank you, Corvus. Oh, I gotcha. Pseudonym.
Like calling Germany, Germany. Germany is an exonym for English speakers for a place where those people live.
Instead of Deutschland.
Yep. Or the other name for Germany they have.
I think Japan does something similar too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They don't call themselves Japanese. I mean, if they were American, they would, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah, the old name is like Nippon.
Yeah.
I don't know if they refer to themselves as Nipponese or...
Exonyms are given to us by someone outside of our culture. Names given by the people who are from there. Gotcha. Endonyms. Interesting. Okay, inside, outside. I understand. Cool. Alright, this guy's done. I'm going to put him away. Ew. Put that over there. How are you doing today, Corvus?
I'm alright. I was distracted watching this other artist doing videos.
How dare you? How dare you?
Well, I'm sorry, they're a little bit more consistent with their art.
I don't know how to take any of that. Roll the dice. A druid with a giant wooden... Oh, no, that's wrong. Hold on. Bulky blue lobster folk rogue. Oh, no. Okay.
So you don't want to do the bulky druid?
I mean, I do, but that's not what I rolled. So. And,
yeah, it's a guy I've been watching. He did a lot of the concept art for all the Dragon Age games.
Oh, nice. Okay.
His name is Matt Rhodes. He's probably done other games as well.
Just has a video out.
Oh no, he's just doing like videos.
Gotcha.
And he's like doing like he's kind of designing a world right now he calls it Dead Gods.
Okay.
And it's like based on like the antediluvian stuff. If you know that term.
I don't.
It means like pre-flood.
Oh, interesting.
Like pre-great biblical flood. So it's kind of like hyper fantasy science stuff because they got knowledge from angels.
Gotcha. Okay, cool.
So there's like
I don't know what lobster mouths look like.
They look like bugs. So he was like did a few videos on like 3 of the main technologies that he wanted to have in the setting: glass, sound, and electricity.
Oh, nice. Okay. I think I might have seen some of this guy's stuff.
Um,
You might have shared it with me before. I'm not sure.
I don't know if I have. I mean, I probably have sent like some of his concept art for Dragon Age, but and like all this is gonna be like going into like an art book that kind of like a that will tell like a little story without any words to it.
Yeah, I've seen some of those. Those are cool. Throw T-Rex at them with a sword tail. Sharp. Yeah. Yeah, there's
mean,
no
there are-
reason not to throw Monster Hunter monsters at people in D&D.
Yep.
Totally fine.
I'll say there's also T-Rexes in this stuff. He calls them dragons because
Because why
that's
not?
what the Creation Museum calls them. So he
That's a
he
little
takes like
scary.
the ideas of all the really kind of conspiracy theory BS, like the Dendera light bulb and the Baghdad battery.
Gotcha.
It's like, what if they were real, like truly real?
The way that people think they're real, like,
Yeah, and throw it into like a fantasy setting.
mm-hmm.
And so like there's different like watchers. He kind of created one that was associated with electricity and has like fulgurite glass horns. A fulgurite is like petrified lightning, sort of. It's when it strikes sand, it
Oh, gotcha.
creates like these antlers.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
He also kind of made the Watchers vampires.
Might as well, right?
Yeah. Because he's basing it off like source material, so it's like, well, the Bible says the giants were cannibals, so their parents, ergo, must be vampires.
I was gonna ask if they were gonna talk about like the Nephilim and stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, that would make total sense.
And so they're not like super giants, but like just super tall humans. So like basically Goliath.
Yeah, I never really understood Goliath. Kind of an outlier in biblical storytelling. Yeah,
Oh.
by the way, this guy was fucking huge. It's like, what?
Yep. Yeah. Also, he's been killed twice in like the same book.
That screams con job, you know. I
It
will
screams
fight
a
this tiny
political
man.
agenda.
Oh, I have been slain.
Yeah. It literally is just propaganda for like the King David dynasty thing.
Who's setting like that? Corvus. It's a time travel MMO taking place in fantasy world. In the equivalent of the in between the flood and the destruction of the Tower of Babel. Are you writing it, or you just this is a thing like
Like a setting.
right? But like when you have a setting, like do you have it, or are you writing it?
Mm.
Because you said time traveling MMO. Are you writing an MMO? Okay, if you are a crab monster, I don't think you need armor. Just gonna put that out there.
You are the armor.
You are the armor, yeah.
My crab eater character uses your armor.
Yeah. I've got to go back through and redesign all this stuff for him. Because I've rebuilt the character so many times now, I have to, have to update everything. So I haven't made any more characters yet. Currently working on it. Okay, cool. Dawn of Glass. That's cool. He's not reading Rogue yet. Maybe he needs a little hood. Hoods help everything.
It makes you more suspicious.
Man, Dragon Age's like art splashes were really good. So
Yeah.
he did
I
any
really-
of those.
And if I remember correctly, he's done for all their games, so like even Origins.
Okay.
And so like he started, I guess, using his own art style for Dragon Age, like after or like during the second game. Which I don't know how you would describe his art style, but
I would describe it as
here's
illustrative, very comic booky. Yeah.
mm-hmm.
Very stylized.
Yeah, because he's also like in one of the videos. He's like when he was talking about glass. He's like, yeah, and there's gonna be people in the comments who are like, actually, glass is highly fragile. You won't be able to do that. And he's like, responding, I don't care. Practicality is overrated and the enemy of creativity. I was like, I definitely see that in a lot of his designs. I'm like, it doesn't. I don't care if it's
I do
practical
what I
or
want.
not.
Yeah.
Oh, I know what it reminds me of. Border Saga? Is that what it's called?
Banner Saga?
What's it called?
I just realized now that guy's got the horns are piercings in his head.
Yep.
They're ear piercings and head piercings. It's going to be a game setting for a hack/log Horizon type game. The PC has died and gone to the internet, reincarnated as their main. Gotcha.
Banner Saga. That's what it is.
Okay. Yeah, that's kind of what I thought.
I can remember the name of it, but yeah, his art style kind of reminds me of that. For all I know, he probably was
It's possible.
lead artist for it.
I don't think that was an Origins game, but that doesn't mean he didn't work on it, you know.
Yeah.
Should he have a little knife? Since he's a rogue. Yeah. I do not want to draw all the legs, but I want to draw all the legs, you know. Just make this as horrific as possible. Oh man. Did the time change happen or something, man? I'm so tired. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
I feel like I got more sleep than I normally do last night by like I got an extra half an hour or so. I'm just exhausted.
Well, days are getting longer, and so that's a thing. But yeah, I know I've not been sleeping great lately.
Something's differently in the air. Yeah.
Yep.
Life is just making everybody more exhausted.
The end is nigh.
Yeah. The universe is a lie. Life is a simulation by gold.
Where's that from again?
It's from
I've always
Gravity
asked you
Falls.
this. Okay. Is that what Grunkle Stan said?
No, it's Bill Cipher.
Oh.
He's like a ancient.
Yeah, I mean, I know what Bill Cipher
Okay. Yeah.
looks like. He's the pyramid.
He's the pyramid eyeball. Yeah. Just full of conspiracy and garbage. Green Cat, welcome in.
He's the epitome of Freemason conspiracy theories.
Mm-hmm. They went deep in that show. I love it. Dun, 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 dun. Which one are we drawing today? Right now we're drawing a lobster rogue. I've just taken away his knife privileges because I don't think it was working out the way I had intended. So I think we're about done. Oh, hello. Good morning. Ugh. Poor tiny child. I think I'm done with this one. How does he pickpocket? I mean, however he wants, you know? Why take the pouch when you can take the whole leg? I'd like to pickpocket. Okay, roll stealth. I'm gonna roll intimidation. What? I'm gonna roll intimidation. Give me your bag! Ah! Stone Knife, welcome in. I just heard it. Here we go. Thank you for the follow. How are you doing today? You have a suggestion? All right, you're welcome to post it. I'm about to roll for the next one, so go ahead. Crab monster. Meow. Dun, 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 dun. give you a second here. I'm gonna go fill my water glass. I'll be right back. Hi, kid. What you eating? Pretzel? Oh my. Alright. What was that suggestion? A Warforged Jester. I think I drew one of those a little while ago. Well, we can do another one. I'll put it on the list. Need to start rolling a lower die. 8. Swashbuckling bugbear with an eye patch. Let's do it. Gotta go. Best of luck. Thanks, Green Cat. I'll see you later. Thanks for stopping by. Did the Beast from Beauty and the Beast have horns? I feel like he did.
Yes. Yeah, like cow horns. Like
Yeah,
the small
cow lion thing. I don't know what he was. He was a beast, right?
Yep.
He's pretty close to being a bugbear.
Yep.
And you can starve. The bugbears. More chin. More chin fluff. The bugbear gods demand it.
Wolverine demands it.
I played some Marvel Rivals last night.
Mm-hmm.
Friends and I finally got together and played for like half an hour. And oh man, everyone in that game is so beefy.
Oh yeah.
Like there's Spider-Man, and I'm like, yep, that's normal. And then it's like Wolverine. I'm like, oh Jesus, Wolverine is just
Brick shit house.
so much meat. And then I played Frank Castle as the Punisher. And I was just like, oh my god, he's just mostly upper body. I'm like, why is it like this?
I really kind of like the weird animated comic book 3D element that they decided to go with it.
Yeah, there were a lot of times when like most of the game cutscenes and stuff are animatic. Like they take a picture and they kind of animate it a little bit. But then sometimes it's like, no wait, that's a 3D model.
Yep.
And it looks really good. They did a really good job. It's very, very stylized and very beautiful. So good on them.
You're talking about beef. Moon Knight is really beefy too. I was like,
is he?
Because in my mind, like I'm used to like Moon Knight from the show, which I never watched, but like
just
like
dude proportions, like regular guy.
Yeah, dude proportions, and it's just like they just decided to like crank up the muscle tone on everyone.
Yeah. Except Spider-Man. Spider-Man just looks like.
I guess he's too iconic for them to get away with.
Yeah, probably. And Spider-Man's never been bulky. Like.
Yeah.
When he had the Venom
Peter
suit,
Parker
he was a
Spider-Man.
little bulkier, but even then, he's still very lithe.
Yeah. He's very like a gymnast built.
Yeah. Okay, swashbuckler clothes. What would a swashbuckler be wearing?
Poofy sleeves.
Saw something like this on one of the references, so I like that. I like the stitching. We'll do some stitching on here. Maybe like a pleated neck guard. Oh, you feed? Why you not put the crayons on the food tray?
Dear Lord, our dog is snoring. I could hear him through the headset.
The dog? What?
Our dog is snoring. And I could hear him through the headset with sound playing through it.
That's funny. That used to happen with Skip Cat. I'd have my headphones on and I just start hearing. I'm like, what the hell?
Yep.
Getting the one-sided fencing cape. Those are cool.
What is it?
Just like the short duelist cape.
Oh, yep. I think one of my favorite, I guess, techniques of using them I saw is if you're like being accosted with someone with a longer weapon, say you have a dagger, which in the Renaissance everyone had daggers.
Mm-hmm.
It's just what you did. And if you had a cloak, the thing was to take the cloak off and throw it on the other person and shank them as they're trying to get the cloak off them.
That makes sense.
Just run it.
Smoke screen.
Yep. Pocket sand. Other than that, a lot of times I see them like they will like wrap it around their offhand as like kind of a shield.
That's what you're supposed to do if someone comes at you with a knife. Just wrap your coat around your arm.
Yeah.
Or a belt or whatever you got.
Take off the belt and start whipping them with it.
Oh yeah, no. If like, if you need like concealed self-defense, like just get a belt with a good buckle on it. that's a pretty
Makes
good
you
deterrent.
flail.
Someone comes at you in the parking lot, just like whip your belt off, and like, oh, they're not gonna have a good day. Just start swinging that shit around. No one wants to come in on that. It's just like, I'm out, I'm gone.
Like that one short about the guy talking about rope darts. It's like, do you have a pair of keys?
Yeah.
You have a set of keys on a lanyard? You've been doing it already.
Oh my kid.
Boo.
Should I give this a basket? I don't know if it needs a basket. Let's just do it.
It's like basket. Why does the swashbuckler need a basket?
Does they have a rapier?
It took me a second to figure out what you were meaning by basket. That's just kind of the joke I was getting at.
Oh, what you got, kid? Where'd you get that? Ooh.
What you got there, kid? A
That
knife!
doesn't feel very good. Yeah. Okay. This to be a little more robust of a beard, and then I think we're gonna call it. was thinking about it the other day, about making a YouTube short talking about wizards just being ahead of their time in science. But like completely missing the mark, right? Like, sure, they could make lighters and they could make batteries that zap people, but like they didn't make a cell phone. There's not a lot of cars, per se.
I mean, they made cell phones, sending stones.
Yeah, but it's not a cell phone like the way we have cell phones, right? It's like, here, this little
Fair.
rock has 1,000 apps on it. Like, check this out.
That's
I made some
fair.
headphones for you. No, instead they're just like, we're just going to send this right to your brain. It's like, oh, okay. Let's do that. I like that concept, and I wouldn't mind playing with that concept more. Maybe less about, like, what we don't have, but just that wizards are, like, ahead of their time. They're not really magical.
Mm-hmm.
Clerics casting purify food and water, and it's just like, we're gonna boil it for a little bit. We're just gonna boil it. It's like, it's magic. It's like, no, just gonna boil it. do not eat the thing that the goblin was rolling around on, please.
Or do.
Oh, my kid.
Who am I to stop you?
All healing potions are just like chicken broth. Scry Cauldron. Get our sportings package and watch live competitions anywhere in the world. Yeah, exactly. There's not enough corporate greed in Baldur's Gate.
Other than, what's his face?
Oh,
The guy
okay.
who sewed Karlak. I can't remember his name.
Oh, I'm sure there's corporate greed everywhere. Okay. It's almost 11. We're going to try to do at least one more here. Oops. Magma just exploded. And then we might call it for the day. We started pretty early today, but because we had some help this morning with the kiddo, so we'll see how far we get. Hopefully he doesn't. You were just standing up on the ottoman. I don't like this. I'm proud of you, but also dangerous, kid.
Child.
It's impressive. Yeah. Tiny kid. Eight again. Alright, that's weird. A wizard that uses levitate to wield multiple two-handed weapons. I can get behind that. Doing it again. I'm drawing everything on the same layer. Okay.
Mash.
Bap. What a wizard that dreams to build Applebee's. Why do I have to be a wizard? I mean, that's fine. That's a fine goal. But what wizardly about it makes it required for Applebee's? Could a barbarian do it? And there he goes. Be right back. I'm gonna grab a kid.
All right.
Do 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 bo bo do 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 do. Oh, copyright struck. Can't do that. 3 a.m. at Marby's. What does that mean? Ernst, I have no. I don't get that reference. Please explain. Kid, how do you find all this stuff? Bless you. Bless you.
Pretty sure that's a question that every parent asks, like, all their lives with raising kids. Like, where did you find this?
Kid, please stop slapping the keyboard. Hey. Animation 3 was just go to Arby's at 3 a.m. do more random stuff. Fair. You gonna freak out if I put you on the floor? You gotta stop slapping the keyboard. Kid, you're just sliding down. Is that what you want? No. Okay, you can't be up and down at the same time. You gotta choose. In grumpy solidarity, he decided to sit on his snack tray. Yeah. Yeah, you grumpy? Don't touch the keyboard. And there he goes. Yeah, I think we're about done after this, so let's try to finish this one up and then we'll have to call it. Oh, you alright?
Mash.
Okay. Welcome back.
Hmm?
I thought you said you were back.
Oh no, I said. I heard the kids smash something, so I said smash.
Oh yeah, no. He's making noise, but he's playing safely, so it's fine. No, I like the original hat, even though it's kind of small. Ezra, thanks for drawing. No problem. Can you use your art in a game? Yeah, you're allowed to use these for your home games and stuff. I don't mind doing that. I'll post a full res picture of it on the in the Discord if you want to grab it from there after the stream. What's up, kid? So this said they were using levitate to wield this, but essentially, like, this is just animate weapon.
Yep. Or dancing blade.
Or dancing blade, yeah. Like, I think it'd be cool to have a wizard that specialized in that, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Like, clerics getting their spiritual weapons is pretty common in my circles. Like, that's a cleric's kind of go-to function. But I don't see why you couldn't have a plethora of them as a wizard. swarm of knives or whatever the hell it's called.
Yeah. I will say, partially due to Elden Ring, I really enjoyed the idea of like a wizard like conjuring magic knives and swords out of nowhere and throwing them at people.
Really fun builds. Like I tried that one. It was a lot of fun. Just only making summoned knives.
Yep. Different spell slots or upcasting could be like you get fewer, but you get beefier blades.
Yeah, and I think that makes sense, right? Like, because I think there should be 2 trees, and this is where Elden Ring did a good job of this because they have the ability to do so, right? You have 2 different spells. One that every time you upcast it, it gets a bigger die, so it goes like a D8, D6, D8, or it becomes starts as a D6 and then becomes like 2d4, and you have 2 of them, and then like 3d6 or whatever. And there's a lot of different ways you can do it, but like just continuously upping the number of dies would make a lot of sense, especially if it started at d4 as like a cantrip or a first level spell. You could go 2d4 very easily, and then 3d4, and just make it an individual blade each time.
Yeah.
Leave it at a d4 and then make 3 of them, essentially. I'm gonna give her some Ioun stones. Just make her like a gravity wizard, just surrounded with orbits of stuff. Get a big old mace here. Scaling dice, do they do the Firefly Serenity role-playing game? I mean, they do it in D&D too, but just not as much.
Yeah.
Better the stat or skill, the higher the die. Yeah. I see what you're saying. Kevin the Necromancer tried to fiddle with that as well, which I think Pathfinder 2nd Edition does a pretty good job with the way their crits work. Essentially, we're just talking about deadly crits.
Yeah.
If you critical, you do a higher damage die, which is great. That's fine. But the thing Kevin was trying to do was like, if you have a success rate here, you have like a middle zone of like, this is a success, this is a critical success, this is a failure, but then also gradiate it. So like, a success up to a critical is like the difference between like taking a d4 damage and a d6 damage, and then once you critical, it doubles, so 2d4 and then it gradiates up again to like 2d6, which was fine. It just sometimes took a little extra time to calculate, which works really well for video games. Like, it's awesome, but it can be fun. You can do all kinds of stuff with that. Adding that kind of stuff to your game is really fun because it's just a little extra complexity for, you know, a lot more flavor and interesting things to happen.
The thing I wish they kind of did a little bit more in Pathfinder, there's a few cases where like certain spells or attacks like that are like one action, but if you use like 2 actions, it does something slightly different. 3 actions does more. Kind of like the heal and harm spells.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of them that do that.
Yeah, I have noticed that too. I feel like that should be a core mechanic for spell casting, right? Like, not just the heal spells. I think they were trying to... I think what they did is they were trying to justify the heal spells being kind of poop. And so that was their thing, but then they didn't go back and do that with other spells. And it's like, yeah, no, you should keep doing you should keep doing that. Same thing with attacking. Like, in Pathfinder 1 you had like your full round attacks where it would take all of your movements to do something big. And I feel like that could also be like, oh, you know, I'm going to power swing. I'm going to use three attack actions right now, and if I hit, I get to do, you know, an extra D8 per action I used for the attack. It's like, cool.
Yeah.
Go for it. Maybe that's something I'll look at and I'll make a video about, of just like different ways to kind of ramp up the action economy, because I do think the action economy is really good. Like, don't get me wrong, I love it. And going back to 5e after playing so much Pathfinder 2e is just like, ugh, it's so slow.
Yeah.
It's so slow.
I also think I saw this thing about it was there were fair critiques. I agreed with most of the statements that the person was making about spellcasting in 2e, where it feels that it's been undertuned so much because of 1e. Because like all the changes individually make sense, but like when you combine them all together, it just doesn't make it fun or enjoyable. Because like I've played a damaging spellcaster, a sorcerer, and it's like it's nice, but it's just like I only really get to do one thing. I get to move or do a spell. Because most spells are...
I do think that is a... like, part of the beauty of spellcasting, and not just... like, when you're playing a damage spellcaster, I understand what you're saying, right? Like, you fill your spell slots with, like, high damage things. And Pathfinder just has a knack for making things just immune to stuff. And it's like, well,
yep.
Shit, right? And so, like, not having the flexibility to put other things in those slots kind of sucks sometimes. But at the same time, the things you can put in those slots, like always preparing utility spells, is super powerful. Oh, jeez, kid. What happened? Oh, my.
Yeah, the other part of their kind of issue, which apparently this is not the only person who said this, it's a lot. People were talking about how you're almost kind of going back to your resistance stuff. Like you're almost punished by like mechanics of the game for being a specialized caster. Because like if you over specialize, like say you want to be a fire mage or whatever, pyromancer. It's just you're going to face enemies that are just either going to be highly resistant or highly immune, and like nothing else.
Yeah, and I don't think that's necessarily that once again is a fault of how you design your characters as well as your encounters you fight, right? Because I've had the same thing happen with I'm a fighter, I have a sword. Cool, all these things are super resistant to slashing, so unless you have like a specific magical weapon or a cold iron, like you just suck. You just can't do anything. And so like I think part of that is, especially when we're playing in Druids games, we do a lot of singular boss fights, which singular boss fights are always going to be rough on damage casters because most damaging casters specialize in AoE. They just that's how that works. And so if we're not fighting lots of little stuff, we don't need that, right? We need a barbarian because barbarians specialize in single target damage. And so I think that's another part of it is where we're not utilizing the necessity for AoE casters a lot. We're not utilizing. We don't run into a lot of situations where we need utility spells, right?
Yeah.
And so I think that's a big part of it is we're doing a lot of boss fights instead of navigation, like world navigation, and same thing with the bard. Like the bards, it's really fun. Don't get me wrong. Like I'm buffing the shit out of everybody, but a lot of times my turn is just like I don't have to move. I just do two things, then I'm done.
And like,
and that's
some
fine.
people like that. A lot of other people don't. It's like I want to be more active and just doing. I sustained my spell or do this doesn't feel that fun for a caster. Even though fighters and other melees are still just
I swing.
I
I swing 3
attack.
times. That's my turn.
It feels more dynamic than just I sustain or I cast a spell.
Yeah, and so I really do think that's partially like if you're gonna build a pyromancer, you basically need to either lean into the fact that you're going to be useless sometimes and have something else to do. And I mean, not necessarily like, oh, I can somehow switch to ice magic, right? No, it's just like, okay, hey guys, I'm useless in this situation. Let's see. I have to have another purpose, right? Like finding that can be fun sometimes, but a lot of the times we aren't in those situations where that's viable.
Yeah.
And so I think it is a combination of building your character with utility, regardless of whether you want to be like individual, like so having spells that can be utilized not for damage but for beneficial means for other people, as well as developing dynamic encounters to offset players. Like, oh, if this person is going to play a pyromancer, I need to come up with a cool situation where that's either cool or detrimental for them, so that they have to figure something out, right? And that's like building puzzles for each of your players in an encounter is really tough.
Yeah. I think another thing.
And Drew is not doing that because of how we play, right? We don't pick who we're playing until the day. So Drew is just building cool encounters, good, cool fights.
Yeah. I think one way of doing it as well is all that for sure. I also think Pathfinder needs avenues for people to like I don't know, like a meta magic that allows you to temporarily overcome a resistance. Maybe not an immunity, but like weaken resistance for like a spell.
Thaumaturge did something like that, didn't it?
Sort of. But like,
Cannon, welcome in. Scumbag, welcome in.
They essentially can apply an enemy's a weakness or give them a weakness, but only to their damage. But like, yeah, it's like, I don't know, it would make sense like a high level pyromancer to have a feat that could
makes people weak to fire. Yeah.
Yeah. Or counteract a resistance where they maybe kind of override some of the resistance a little bit.
And I think that would make a lot of sense for the meta magic, right? Like same thing with the rods, like a rod of blasting or something that when you
because like with
weakens resistances.
Because it would be pretty balanced because you're using your third action to do this. So
exactly, yeah. And I think that should also
most
be part
spells are, like I said, are like 2 actions.
I think that goes right back into what we were talking about with like that being the main focus of like, cool, when you upcast this, it penetrates, or upcast it widens the spell or something. Like that's how meta magic should work in my mind, and I think it does, but you have to select it and go from there. So I know Jump Rope had a thing that like a ring that she used that would basically like change the type of save they make. So if it's a will save, you're like, it's a reflex save now. That's pretty cool. They need more of that stuff.
Yeah.
Tiny Cole,
probably they will.
The hooded poncho and a comically large hammer. I will put that on the list, but we are about done for the day. I think I'm about to call it here. Let me go ahead and put that on the list, and we'll draw it on Friday, hopefully.
Yep. Also, yeah, I was going to ask that too. Is that like a Elder Scrolls character that you drew earlier? The elf with the mohawk?
That was a time bandit.
Yeah. Literally looks like a ordinator from Morrowind.
Do they have 4 arms?
I can't see the 4 arms.
Oh, okay.
I just see a mohawk and
but yeah. I'm gonna be honest, not a unique design.
Nope.
It looks like a lot of things. So technically looks pretty close to some Star Wars stuff too. But whatever. It doesn't really matter. Yeah, I think that's what we got. We filled the page up. I could probably do one more, but I don't think I have time. The kid's kind of up and around now, so we're gonna go from there. That looks super cool. I need to get better with pen and ink. I love my transparency though. It just feels so good. But whatever. Yeah. I mean, like, there's a lot of reasons that Pathfinder 2 feels like that, because it's the same thing in 5e. Like, if you run into a creature, there's less creatures with immunity. There just are in 5e. But when you run into them, it's not fun. So I think 5e has a little more spell flexibility, but Pathfinder has a lot more variety. So it's kind of like,
Yeah.
it's kind of a crapshoot. And we've talked to Druid about that too, about like how we prepare for missions. I think that helps a lot. But a lot of times, like, we kind of pick wrong. Like, oh, we're fighting a whole bunch of undead. Too bad I didn't bring my paladin who hates undead.
Yeah.
Right. Yep. And that's a big part of it. But I do think it's also...
I think one reason I was okay, because my sorcerer kind of specialized in, like, plant magics, which is a pretty broad category of spells. And a lot of times, they don't do elemental energies. So it's just like piercing damage or bludgeoning.
Yep. Yeah, I had a friend that built a tree wizard, which is really funny. I tried to build one and he beat me to it, and it was great, because like timber is just, it's such a good spell. I summon a tree and I drop it on you. It's like, okay.
I've not even used that one yet.
It's so good. It's so good. And something we used to use in like 5e all the time is just like bonfire. Like, that's an amazing spell. You just like snap your fingers and someone's on fire. It's just, those little things like that are super good, that I think a lot of people kind of get distracted by fireball and lightning bolt, and like, oh, this does 88 psychic damage. It's like, yeah, that's a shit ton of damage, because there's a lot of things that are immune to it. Like, that's just how it works. So sometimes it's better to take the kind of mediocre approach, because they're more versatile, and that's the problem. Like, when you want to specialize into something that looks awesome, it's like, I want to do this one thing really well. It's like, it's immune to it. It's like, well, fuck my character, right? It's like, it just doesn't feel good. So there's a lot of little things to get around with that, and I think that is why, like, I'm not very versatile. I'm very generous when it comes to things like that. Like, I gave everybody a bunch of skulls that can let you transfer energy types for that reason. Not just like for per fight, but just like, hey, I'm slightly more versatile now, because now all my spells are also ice magic if I need them to be. I think that makes the game a lot more fluid, and it kind of, I'm okay with people bypassing resistances when it costs something. Like, oh, you have to use an action to do that. It's like, cool, that's great.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think that's a perfectly balanced thing to do, because it's just like, and it's not like you're always going to be able to do that. It's like, well, I'm going to be casting a 3-action spell, which generally tend to be really big spells.
Yep.
And I can't use the mana magic, so here goes nothing.
Yeah. The crab guy reminds me of the Tick. I think that's what the crazy superhero was called. The Tick was really funny. Yeah, I love the Tick. The big blue guy. Spoon.
Yep. And his Mothman psychic.
Arthur Mothman, I think is his name. Not bringing the paladin that hates undead was a big vibes. Shino not being at Sasuke's revival squad because he was working away from the village that day. Yeah, it didn't feel good. It's like, damn it, he should be here. But oh well, it happens. That's all I got. That's all I got for the day. I'm gonna get snapshots of these and I'll put them on the Discord, in the Discord and Draw, so people can check those out and download them for their private games and stuff. We'll be back on Friday to try to hit up more of this list. We have quite a few more, so hopefully we can get through that. But yeah, I think that's where we're at. Commissions are open. I'm working on one currently, and other than that, I'm just working on the video game. Usually stream that into the Discord when I can, and otherwise, that's what we got. So, thanks again, Corvus. Thanks for hanging out. Everyone else in the chat, thanks for your suggestions and your typies. Stay happy, stay healthy.
A lot of viewers today.
We'll catch you all on Friday. Bye, everybody. Oh, good. The Discord bot broke. There should be a link down below. Go check that out. Okay. Bye, everyone.